Hello, and welcome to Polishing Your Award Submissions. This webinar is hosted by BlueJeans, so thank you to them. I'm Juliet from Space Cookies, Team 1868, and I think I'm just going to open it up to introductions. So say your name, position, team number, and some awards that you've won, and also what business means to you.
Hi, I'm Min Chao. I'm from Team 1967, the Jangsters, and on my team, I am the Social Activities Director. So for the Jangsters, business really is the face of our team, and we use this to connect to our community and everyone who supports us, from sponsors, alumni, our team, and other teams too.
Hi, my name is Mio, and I am also from Team 1967, the Jangsters, and I am the awards and sponsorship lead on the team. So some awards that we've applied to in the past are the Chairman's Award and the Woody Flowers Award as well. And this year we are also applying for the Entrepreneurship Award, and we also applied for the Safety Animation Award as well.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I'm Business Project Manager on Polyrobotics Team 8.
Hi, I'm Annalise Suhu, and I'm the business team captain from Polyrobotics Team 8. And business to Polyrobotics really means spreading STEM and connecting with the community, whether it be with the broader community, such as our town or our school, or even within our team. And some awards we've applied for have been the Entrepreneurship Award, Chairman's Award, and Woody Flowers Award, along with animation awards. And we've won the Entrepreneurship Award three times in the last 2 years.
Hi, I'm Jasmine, and I'm the Marketing and Outreach Captain for the Space Cookies Team 1868. Business and outreach to us is an opportunity to reach out to our community and inspire the next generation of technology leaders. Some awards that we've applied to are Chairman's, the Safety Animation, Entrepreneurship, and Woody Flowers.
Okay, so now we can open it up to questions in the chat if you have any. And in the meantime, while we wait for them to come in, I have some questions prepared ahead of time. So let's see. So how do you edit your award submissions once you have a rough draft laid out? What's your process of editing?
So once we have our process of our organization for our award, we have everyone on our team actually write it and then go through and edit it through suggestions and comments. And then our business team and our business leaders can go through that comments and see everyone's feedback.
So we have a rapid fire series of drafts where we make the first draft and then we go through different people on business team to edit and suggest to know what we want to change. And then after each draft, new people come in so they can bring their fresh ideas on the table and see what they think we should add.
On our team, we use Google Drive, and so on that, we have team members put in suggestions, and all those suggestions need to be approved by someone else so that at least two people understand the suggestion and make. And after that, we go through that process a few times in order to get the final draft.
Great. Okay, so all of our teams have rookies. Every single team has rookies. So how do you involve rookies in the business process and award submission process?
So on our team, we don't actually involve the rookies in the awards writing process, just because we think the rookies need the time to spend the year to really get to know the team and in order to really present the team in the award submissions.
So we actually really like to have our rookies get to learn a lot about the team, and we just have them jump into the awards process. So we'll get them up to speed. We let them know what the awards are, and then they help us get some information which helps them both familiarize themselves with the team and lets them get to know first on a deeper level, although our chairman's presenters are typically veteran members.
So for our team, we really try to involve our rookies in everything. So for the business and awards process, they are working on finding information, and it's a way for them to learn more about our team. So they're involved in the writing process and in the editing process. And for our travel team, it is a requirement to get 10 business hours. So we involve rookies in that to learn about our team and, like I said, help write it.
So since we've talked about rookies, on the other side, there's mentors. So how are mentors involved in the process of submitting awards, and what are some pros and cons of having a mentor help you with your awards?
So we definitely invite our mentors to help us. For our team, the girls are the ones writing all of the awards, so they don't write the awards per se, but they help us edit it and give us feedback on maybe things that we should emphasize and maybe different edits that we can make to make our award submissions sound better. And then our mentors also write our dean's list award submissions.
Yeah, so although Pally Robotics is a 100% student-run team, we really value what our mentors have to say, and we work with our mentors to help. They help us brainstorm, and they do a lot of helping of us edit our submissions and looking at what we've written.
So on our team, students do all of the writing, but we do involve mentors to look over and help us edit afterwards just to make sure that it's still aligning with our team values and to just look from it from more of a judge perspective and see if it really answers the prompt. Also, our coach and mentors work closely together to do the dean's list.
So speaking of answering the prompt, Anonymous asked, how do you ensure that you can include the team's most important achievements within the given word limits?
So what we do on our team is that we have a brainstorming process. We'll get other people who aren't dedicated to writing the award to also help with that, just to make sure that we are going to answer the prompt and also include anything that our team wants to add. For the word count, what I usually suggest to people writing the award is to write more than what the word count limits you to, just because you can always cut things out later on and just cut it down to the most important parts.
So we do a similar thing. So during our first draft, we try to ignore the word count and write what we think is important and what we need to write down. But then later on, after, how we have a series of drafts, we have people start cutting down the words to try to fit in the word limit while keeping the information concise.
So for our team, during our business kickoff, we have all of our questions on large sheets of paper, and we have all of our events and projects that we've worked on slips of paper. So the entire team is involved in fitting all of those events and projects under each question. And then that way we have all of our things that we have done included in our award submissions. And from that, we write as much as we need to fit all of our awards in. And then like other teams said, we cut it down from however many words it's initially written.
Okay, so another question from Anonymous is, I'm on a rookie team and I wanted to know how important is the chairman's binder and what do you need to include in it?
So the chairman's binder isn't really it's not a super important part, but it is a supplement to your award submission. And what we have in our chairman's binder is basically an overview of all the programs and things that we have done over the years. And it's kind of a way to explain more what we've mentioned into our chairman's essay.
Yeah, so some things that we put in our binder or bring to our chairman's presentation would include another copy of our business plan or diversity plan and some materials that just showcase how what we've done in a deliverable form.
What we bring to the chairman's presentation would be our business plan as well. And we also had a strategic visioning session a couple years ago, so we include any information from that.
So the next question is, when is a good time to start writing awards? From Anonymous.
I would suggest to start writing or at least brainstorming and planning your writing process in the preseason, just because a lot of students will be working on the technical aspect of robotics once the season starts. So getting as much done as you can before that happens is always a good idea.
I agree with that. So the more you do preseason, the better it is for you later during the actual build season. And it also kind of depends on how many people are on your team. So if you have less people, you probably want to start it earlier because more people will be needed for the technical part too.
Yeah, so like they said, start as early as you can because it is a long process and there's a lot of stuff to do. So in the preseason, when you're getting all of your outreach done or anything else that you're working on, try to see where that would fit in your award submissions so that when you start writing or during the build season, you have less things to do and you're not as pressed for time.
So the next question is, what are some strategies you use when submitting for chairmans, and what do you focus on?
So some strategies that we use are, especially for our organization, we use some themes. So what we have are the 3 Ps or the 4 Ps. For perceptions, programs, etc. So that helps outline what exactly we want to say in each one, and it helps with the flow, and it's easier to tell what exactly we're trying to get at and explain through our programs and outreach.
So for us, we like to create a big list for a giant brainstorm session of a bunch of facts and things that we want to include, and then we like to group them into about 3 main ideas that we really want to focus on.
On our team, we brainstorm an underlying theme that all our outreach events and anything we want to include in the chairman's essays and short answers, so all of that can relate back to that theme, so it's more cohesive.
Okay, and the next question is sort of related to that. How do you organize your essays, either for any award, chairmans, or anything else?
So what we do is we start with an outlining document, and that just holds the prompt and any ideas that we have, and then we refine the process and really list out how we want to attack the problem, and then that gets turned into a rough draft and then edited.
Yeah, so we also start off with an outline. So it usually comes from our brainstorming list that we do. And then we write this outline and we try to group things by information and how it seems to fall into place in terms of ideas. And then after that, we can go about through our drafts to try to see if we want to group ideas together or cut it down, seeing on word limit or anything else.
So, like I said, we group all of our programs and outreach at the beginning of the season to see where they would fit in our award submissions that year. And like I said, for chairmans, we have the different themes, and it's creating an outline so that you can see where things fit in your essay and where we best put.
Okay, so the next question is, how large should a team's awards team be for maximum efficiency? So how many people should be working on the award?
So at the beginning of your award submission process, everyone should be part of the brainstorming process so you can get everyone's ideas on how it should flow or where things should be put. And then once you are starting to edit and narrow it down, there shouldn't be more than 10 or so people because it can get hard with a lot of edits, and it's just very overwhelming if there's a ton of people. And then when you get down to approving edits and the final submissions, it should be a smaller team, because then you just really need to agree on what is the correct part. Well, not the correct, but what type of like way you want to go, or like what the tone is. So when it's getting down to like the final decisions, it should be a smaller.
So we have 10 people on our business team who work on awards during build season, but in the middle, we open it up to other members of our team on other sub-teams who like to submit some of their requests of information they want to include or some edits, and we bring it to our mentors and coaches. But then in the end, we have our business team writing it and then editing it with the help of our mentors looking over, and then
on our team, we identify point people for each award, and we go to them in order to make sure that they know what they're going to be doing throughout the time they are writing the award. And yeah.
During the process of writing and applying for awards and grants, how do you make sure deadlines are maintained?
So at the beginning of the awards process, we create a detailed spreadsheet of deadlines. So we mark down which days we want to work on each award, when we want drafts done, when we want the editing done, when we want the final portion of the award done. So it's not just the entire award too. We break each award down into parts. So either by like 3 questions or the short answers and the long answers. So that way we have a detailed plan of when we want things done, and that way we can keep on track.
So this year we've actually started using Asana, which is like a project management board, which has actually worked out pretty well. So we divided all of our awards into drafts, a series of drafts that spread across build season, with the last few drafts being mainly for editing and the ones in the front being for brainstorming. And Jennifer, actually, as a project manager, has really kept us on track this year.
I'd like to give a disclaimer that you should leave a lot of gaps in your drafting processes. And when you plan to turn it in, like make sure it's 2 weeks or a few weeks before the deadline, because you will most likely fall behind. Like finals and winter breaks really serves as a huge setback. So you probably want to work on making sure that you have enough spacing so you won't fall like really, really behind.
Yeah, just going off of that, make sure that your final deadline is a couple weeks before the actual award is due, because do expect that you will fall behind at some point in the process. Maybe you can catch up in the later parts of it, but most often you will fall behind a little.
Okay, so the next question is, how important is talking to judges in the pit at competition? Which is more important, talking to judges or having a good written submission?
So I think both parts are equally important. So for talking to judges, our team, we sit down as a team and go over everything about talking to judges and making sure that our entire team is on the same page about what we wrote in the submissions, and just about our robot in general, because some of these awards, even though you don't write for them, they're about your robot itself. So making sure that everyone has a general idea of everything that's happening on the team is very important.
Yeah, so I think both are important. It's nice to have someone make sure your team's prepared to talk about your achievements, as you should be proud of them and show that everyone, that the judges, that you know what you're talking about. So it's like a good supplement to having the written piece. And we know from experience it's very important to have both aspects.
Yeah, so both aspects of the award submissions are important, and it's kind of an opportunity to expand more on what you've said in your submission. So if you only had a certain number of words to talk about one event, if they ask a question about it, you can really elaborate on that. Politeness is the key on this. Like, they really want to learn more about your team, so it's also an opportunity to talk about all the different things that you've done. You can gauge whether they're interested in something, and if they are, then you can talk more about that. And it's really an opportunity to tell them more about your team.
Okay, what, in your opinions, is the most effective way of getting your message across to judges in writing?
So I think it's definitely very effective to have a plan when writing it. This is where having an organized outline is really important. So it's basically, if you have like a theme or an overlying thesis statement and you just like follow that throughout your essay, it's really good. It's a really easy way to have a flow and have the reader be able to understand what you're trying to show through all of your accomplishments.
I agree. You should definitely have some things that you want to stress and follow your outline so it's cohesive and a strong argument for why your team is blank for each award.
So I would say that you really want to focus on what your message is and what you're trying to get across, and really throughout the whole process, always try to highlight that. Another thing is show, not tell. I know we hear that a lot, but that's really important, because it's easy to say that we are student run and driven, but to give good examples of how students are taking the lead and making the decisions on the team, I think that's a much better way of getting your message across, and it provides a bigger impact.
Okay. Let's see. We are having a hard time writing our awards without sounding like we are bragging. How do you deal with that?
Okay, so I don't have as much experience in award writing, but I'm gonna take this from my college essay process. And let's see, without sounding like you are bragging, I think you just need to come from a really humble spot and really be proud of how far your team has come and all of your accomplishments. And if you come across as someone really sincere, I think it really shows, because bragging, you can list like, oh, we want this, we want that, but to say that this is important and it holds value to you and like who you are, I think that's not bragging.
I agree. For writing for awards, you're just showcasing your achievements and you should be really proud of them. And so long as you are truly proud of it, it won't come off as bragging, but just as a sincere way of portraying all your success that your team has come.
Yeah, so during the awards process, it's important not to undersell yourself. So if you're really proud of your achievements and what you've done, I think it can come across as being proud instead of bragging, because the awards submissions, they do want to know what you've done. So yeah.
Okay, what is the most important thing to remember while presenting to judges?
So I think it's really important to be confident in what you're doing, and it's okay to be kind of nervous, but they also really want to see you succeed. So they're not there judging you, so you should be a little more relaxed for that, because they're not like trying to judge you, but they really want to see you do well. And it's also really important to be polite and then also honest. If they ask you a question and you're not quite sure how to answer it, it's okay to like take a moment. Yeah, so just kind of be like honest and be a little more comfortable, because they're not there judging you. Oh well, they are judging you, but they're not trying to criticize you. They're trying to like really understand what your team does.
I would say showcase your passion, because if you're at a robotics competition and you're in a place where you're talking to judges, you probably care a lot about what you're doing to do all that prep and all that writing just to know your stuff so you can talk to them. So long as you show them that you're passionate about what you're doing and be proud of your achievements, I feel like your message will come across really well.
A word of advice for talking to judges is that if you don't know the answer to a question that they're asking you, is to not make up an answer, because there are definitely people who do that just because you're in the moment and you don't really know what to do in that kind of a situation. But just if there's someone else there, you can be like, oh, hey, do you know the answer to this question? Just don't make it up, because it will come back to bite you.
And actually, that's the next question. So, what other strategies do you have for telling if talking to judges if you don't know the answer to their question? So, other teams, if they want to answer, teammate.
Sure. Well, if we don't know the answer, it's like they said, it's easy to pull in someone else and who's more in the area of expertise, and then that way you can involve others while also providing a much better answer.
Yeah, so kind of similar. We try to teach everyone about like what's in our awards, but if you don't know the answer to the question, it's really easy to say that's a good question, and blank here would love to expand more on it.
Okay, so this is a repeat of an earlier question that they couldn't hear because of the audio. How do you decide who will present the Chairman's Award?
So on our team, we have a selection process. So anyone is welcome to audition and say a 2-minute speech, and then answer some questions about our team. And then we really choose the ones who are best at public speaking and like best know the award material.
So this is our first year of having an organized chairman's approach. Last year was our first year, so we were getting started on everything. Blank slate, didn't know anything. So this year we chose to have 3 people who presented last year. However, we're looking to have the people who have been helping write it and know a lot about chairmans this year, learning this year, will be able to join next year.
So because this is our 3rd year applying for chairmans, we do have people who have presented in the past, and we are drawing for those resources. We also emphasize sustainability on our team, so we're inviting new people to come and present. And it's honestly just a matter of who we think has a lot of enthusiasm and pride and knows our values, along with who's in the pit and who's available to actually do the talking. Like, for example, Mio can't really do it because she might be on drive team.
Okay, is there a difference when presenting at Champs and presenting at a regular competition?
So we have not been at Champs since I've been on the team, and last time was 2013, so we're not really qualified to answer that.
Yeah, same. We went to Champs, but we didn't do any chairman stuff.
Speaking at champs, the judging environment is relatively the same. So it might be more intimidating because it's champs, but the judges might know a little bit more about first. But beyond that, it's pretty similar to just speaking at a regional event.
Okay, and this is less of a discussion question. How many people can present the Chairman's Award? But how many people do you think is best for presenting the Chairman's Award? Like two, because that's sort of different.
So on our team, we have 3 presenters, and we break up the presentation that way. So the presenters write whatever they're going to say. So I think whichever number of people best fits your team. But personally, we use 3.
Yes, we also have 3 presenters, and we break up our presentation to follow that model.
Our team actually uses 2 presenters, and we use that third person just to look in on the presentation because, as we mentioned earlier, our team is a lot about sustainability. So having that third person there really helps for future competitions.
I just want to add that it really just depends on team resources and team size, because if you're going to a competition with less people, I would say 2 presenters is more ideal so that that third person can be focused on other stuff during competition.
And one person says, what if their presentation team is only one person? Do you have any tips?
I would.
I think that you were very brave to present by yourself and just be you, represent your team, and that you're doing great.
Yeah, so it might be intimidating presenting as just one person, but if you are presenting by yourself, just have a lot of practice and maybe have other team members look in on your presentation so that you can have feedback from that. And just be confident because you are chosen or you are the person presenting and your team has done amazing things, and just present that.
Okay, next question is, how important is the chairman's video, and do we need to have one?
So your chairman's video, I believe, is not always looked at unless there's like a tie or it's really close between 2 teams. So it is really nice to have a good video because that's what's shown when you win, but it might not be the most important thing. You might want to work on your actual essays a little bit more than your video. But if you have the resources and the time, a good video is nice.
Yeah, I would agree. Don't allocate too much time on making the video over the actual writing process or practicing for talking, because that's the most important part. But if you have the resources, as she said, it's probably really nice to create a good chairman's video, as you might be able to use it later when you're showing other people what your team does, and it's a quick, easy overview.
Yeah, just going off of that, the video isn't the most important part of the submission, but it is something that you can use for other purposes. We can show it to like the parents of the girls on our team just to do like a brief recap of what the team has accomplished over the years.
Okay, and do you use slides or anything like that during the chairman's presentation? Does the team memorize the presentation?
So we do a lot of practices for the presentation just so that they get their lines down pat. Over the years, presentation has really changed. Like last year, we had a big book, and those were our slides. So it was in a paper format than like an actual Google presentation, for example.
Yes, our presenters do memorize their speech, but we also like to bring in a large poster that has some graphs and maybe some information about our team on it.
So our team uses posters because presentations, you might have technical difficulties, so we do have posters. Our presenters do memorize what they're going to say, and they are a main part of who writes their presentation, so it is easier for them to memorize. And always remember that like images are better than a lot of text, so if you can show what you've done and then just speak about it, it is really good.
Okay, what should be included in other awards other than chairman's?
So for entrepreneurship, you should include your business plan, your money management type of documents, anything about your sponsor relationships. And then for Woodies, it's really important to include anecdotes about your mentors because it really adds a more personal feel to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. With entrepreneurship, you want to focus on the facts and also how you've created a sustainable team through sponsorships and fundraising and various things. And then for Woody Flowers, you want to talk about how great your mentor or coach is and why they are the best mentor or coach in the entire world and why they deserve to win.
Okay, so for entrepreneurship, adding the business plan and sustainability, I think is really important. And as for the Woody Flowers, I think really getting the values and just who that mentor is and what they care about and why they're still on that team, because you'll probably be submitting someone who has been on the team for a long time. Yeah, I think just getting to the heart of who that person is really important. And if you can show like just there's something special about your Woody Flowers mentor, and I think if you can get that across, that'll be really nice.
Is it important to include robot performance in award submissions?
I think it really depends on which award you're applying for. For chairmans, it's not the most important thing to focus on. Outreach is definitely something you should be directing your attention to more.
Yeah, so it definitely depends on the award, but you don't want to spend too much time on just your robot performance because awards are really a chance to show that your team has other successes other than just on the field, and you want to showcase that while you're writing.
So, not all awards are technical awards. So, if they aren't, it might not be the most relevant thing to talk about. But if there's a question or something that might pertain to your robot performance, then you can talk about that.
Okay, going back to the chairman's video, how long should it be?
So, it should be 3 minutes long.
And that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the most important thing for the entrepreneurship award? Is it how many sponsors you have?
No. So, well, you can talk about that, but I think one of the main parts of the entrepreneurship award is to show your sustainability as a team and how you've grown from year to year and how you are setting yourself up to continue to grow.
Yeah, entrepreneurship award is not just the number, but how you have grown your personal number. Like not just your team versus all the other teams, but for example, how your team has gone from 0 to 5 sponsors in a year. That would be a big deal. So talk about how you've connected with the community and done fundraising and sponsorships to create sustainability and help fund your many operations.
So it's not just about the number, it's about your connection. So if you have a good, strong connection with a sponsor, definitely highlight it. It's not just about the number that you have there.
Okay, if you have won the Einstein's Chairman's Award previously, is it possible to win again? I think I can answer this. So it's not really because once you win Einstein's Chairman's, you have Hall of Fame, and you can always go back to champs after that, and you're no longer eligible for Chairman's.
If they won chairman's at Einstein's, why are they still watching?
Yeah, so they were looking at other teams. But okay, what do your chairman's presenters wear?
So in the past, you can really just wear like your team shirt or whatever. For us, our presenters have definitely dressed up a little bit just to stick with like our team's theme. We've worn like bows and ties and stuff like that, but just to make sure that you stand out as your team, not just like you look so professional. You need some sort of connection there as well.
So in the past, we've worn our green team polos, but I think this year we should wear suits.
So for what you're wearing for your presentation, it's important to be comfortable and presentable. So you are going to be like in it for a while, so you don't want to be uncomfortable in what you're wearing, but it should be nice and slightly professional. So it's it's also nice to coordinate. So all of your presenters can have like the same theme or like the same sort of outfit, like in different colors. So for our team, we wore blouses and slacks, so everyone had the same blouse but in a different color. So we coordinated that way, while everyone was still slightly different.
Okay. Can rookies on a veteran team present for chairmans, and do they on your team?
So definitely, we let everyone on our team audition to be a chairman's presenter, but generally it is not a rookie who presents because they don't know as much about our team or they don't quite have the volume of personal experiences to talk from. But we definitely would welcome them to try out and learn more about the process so they can present in future years.
Yeah, Pally Robotics is definitely interested in getting members to be involved in the team and know a lot about chairmans and awards and presenting. But we probably would have someone who's worked on the award before, been on the team for 1, 2, 3 years before. They would probably have an easier time talking about the team and answering questions.
So we don't discourage rookies per se, but when we're looking at all our options for who we want to invite to present, I would say that we lean more towards veterans just because they have the experience and they have the knowledge and they really understand the team better.
Okay. How do you select the Dean's List nominees?
Oh, okay. I can talk about this. So on our team, what happens this year is we have our coach release this Google form, and she sends it to all of the seniors on the team because they've had the most experience on the team. And we look at all of the juniors and sophomores on the teams, and we see who really exemplifies the measures of first and all of the criteria. And after all of the seniors have submitted their recommendation and along with reasons why, the coach looks at all of that information and makes her decision based on that.
So our coach this year asked for robotics resumes, which means that juniors on the team submitted a resume with just things they have accomplished on the team and done for the team.
So for our team, we have a Google survey with all of the sophomores and juniors on our team, and it's open to everyone to vote, to up to 2 members, and then only a group of mentors can see the results, and then the top members can our Dean's List.
Okay. Which awards get you to the championships?
So chairmans, if you win chairmans at a regional event, you are invited to the championships to present there. And then I think it's Rookie All-Star and Engineering Inspiration can also get you to champs, although you can't submit for those. And then also if you win the regional or are a wild card.
Okay. I think that's fine. Okay. How extra should the chairman's video be?
So I think your chairman's video should be easy to understand and it should present the material that's in your chairman's award. So I think it's good if you have the resources to create a professional video that has good shots and a good script. But it's really based on your resources and how much time you have for your chairman's video.
Yeah, like if you can make a nice, clean, like good video because you can always use it later and it's a nice thing to look back on.
It's really dependent on how much time and support your team can offer for making the chairman's video. It's really up to you. If you have the students who are willing to dedicate the time and are really interested in videography, I would definitely say go for it.
How do teams win the Spirit Award and what makes them stand out?
Okay, Spirit Award. Our team has won it for various different reasons, and So the first or like one of the years we won it was because we had a bunch of seniors on the team, and that was back when our team was really small. Actually, I think it was only 12 seniors. But every single time the robot did a task, the seniors were just so proud that they screamed at the top of their lungs. And when you have like 12 girls screaming at the top of their lungs, that's kind of really spirited. Um, and last year we won because it wasn't just because of our presence when like our robot did work on the field. It was also just the spirit, like the spirit of first almost, where we really encouraged girls to pursue engineering as an all-girls school and team, and we really just cared about engineering and our robotics and like our team and culture.
Unfortunately, we have not won the Spirit Award in a long time, but we are trying to get our team more spirited. We do bring spirit materials like Viking hats because we're the Vikings and pom poms, but we're trying to get more people into cheering, and that's a work in progress.
So for our team, coordination is important. So everyone, of course, is wearing their team shirt. If you have other parts of like spirit items like team hairbands or socks or anything at all, coordination throughout the team is really nice. Also, if you are not only being spirited while your team is on the field, but also cheering for other teams, even when it's not your match, that can really help with the Spirit Award.
Okay, now we have another live question. So what's your question?
You're talking to me?
Hear you. Oh, now we can hear you. Okay.
Okay. When you guys were doing your chairman's video and chairman's essay, do you guys have the same content in both, or do you guys cut stuff out for your video?
So our chairman's video, since it is only 3 minutes long, doesn't quite cover exactly what's in our chairman's essay, but it does highlight some parts that are really important to us, and it does follow the same outline.
Yeah, your video's just to showcase your team. You do want to include the best parts.
Since it is only 3 minutes long.
Why is the
So since it isn't really part of the judging process, unless you're tied in the finals, it doesn't really matter if you have so much information that overlaps. You just want to present the best of it in the most aesthetic way.
Yeah, for us, it's just to make sure that you put in the most important information in your video just because it is 3 minutes. You can't put everything in there.
Do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay. Okay, so next question. When writing the SWOT part of the Entrepreneurship Award, how do you write the weakness section without making it sound bad? The short answer question.
So during the weakness section, you want to see like what your team needs to work on, and I think it's fine so long as you know what your weaknesses are, so you show that you know that you have problems and you have a way to fix them. So you might want to present ways that you want to combat these weaknesses so you can turn them into like not weaknesses.
So, going off of that, I would say phrasing your weaknesses more as opportunities almost for you to improve your team.
So for the weaknesses section, it is important to acknowledge that there are some parts of your team that you can work on, but like they said, presenting them in a light of this is an opportunity to expand and grow is good.
Okay. What guidelines do you use to choose a mentor for the Woody Flowers Award?
So similar to the Dean's List Award, to choose a mentor for Woody Flowers, we send a survey out to our entire team with all of our mentors, and then everyone is welcome to vote for who they think we should write for, and then the top mentor is chosen.
We just generally read it about our head coach, who is also our main mentor, and he spends a lot of time and effort into working for robotics, and we really respect that, so we read it about him.
We don't really have a process. For the past few years, we were writing about a mentor who has been on our team for a long time. But this year, we're switching it up and writing about our coach because we think she really deserves it.
Okay. What stuff can you reuse from previous years in your awards?
I think if you are a team that has applied for awards before, looking back onto those awards is really helpful when considering where you can improve, and also just having some information there that, like, for the chairmans, for example, you have basically compiled all the stuff that you want to talk about, and then you can just include stuff that have happened over the course of the past year.
Yeah, so awards are really good at looking back at team history because it's a whole documentation of everything you've done. So you can look at that in the backbone of your ideas to see what you want to add and improve on.
So from year to year, having a consistent theme or consistent way to showcase your team is something that you can reuse. And then also some awards like the Chairman's Award, you are using the outreach that you have from the past 2 to 5 years. So showing how you've built up on different programs throughout the years and how you've expanded on what you've done in the past is a good way to reuse what you've done already written about or what you've already done.
Okay. If you're doing the Woody Flowers Award and the mentor you're talking about really isn't worthy, what should you do?
So your Woody Flowers mentor should be someone that your team is proud about, but if the person that you've chosen might not have enough material or you're not entirely sure what you should write about them, it's good to ask all of your mentors about different anecdotes, what they've done with this mentor, why they chose to write this award about that mentor, and just gather all of the information that you possibly can and try to figure out why your team thinks that this mentor is worthy of the Woody Flowers Award, and then just continuing to do that. Hopefully you can find enough information to write a good submission.
I agree. Talk to other members from other sub teams, for mentors, other coaches, and get some positive and good information on the mentor and why they deserve to win Woody Flowers.
Just touching on that, mentors are usually people who spend a lot of time and put a lot of effort into helping your team succeed. So there's probably a lot of positives that you might just not have thought about when looking at the mentor.
You might not know the mentor very well personally, so definitely talking to other members on your team is good just to gain perspective.
Okay. How does the FedEx Challenge relate to the other awards? Okay.
So it's more of a social media challenge. So it's something that you can highlight as something cool that your team does. And it might also help with the entrepreneurship award because if you win it, then you get a $5,000 amount of money to use on your team. So that can help with entrepreneurship as a way that you continue to get funding. And it could also help with the media award.
Okay. So it's getting close to the end. I'd like to thank BlueJeans for hosting us and thank everyone here. And do you have anything else you'd like to add about like finalizing your awards and just submitting it? Like what few things should you do right before you submit your awards?
So right before submitting your awards, definitely proofread. Make sure that there aren't any easy errors or mistakes that you can fix. And then once it gets to the submission point, you have spent a lot of time on it and you've worked on it, so be proud of your submission.
Yeah, do a few editing periods, look over everything you have, and then when it finally comes down to the deadline, make sure you submit it before the minute it's due and make sure everything's in.
Yeah, just making sure that everything is there, and just doing a last second look over before you submit it is helpful.
Okay, and now that we're done asking questions, we would like to announce that the Space Cookies, along with BlueJeans, will be giving an extended free trial to all FRC teams. You can see our website for the information on how to sign up for it, and also go to bluejeans.com/trial/spacecookies-FRC. And just thank you again for everyone. It's an extended 3-month trial, so yeah. Yeah. Okay. And we will answer more questions on the contact page of our website. So if you still have questions, please submit them there. Yeah.